I think it's time for me to talk about myself. It's time to talk about who I am. What am I? What are my mechanics? The first thing that I want to get out of the way is the understanding that there is information and then there is perception of information. So I speak about human design. You know, I got 20-something videos up here on YouTube. They're all about human design. But if you give me a topic in human design and you give somebody else a topic in human design, the same topics, we're going to speak about them differently. Why is that? And at what point are we verging into the information no longer being accurate and also being subjective? I always talk about human design, but for comparison's sake, let's say I talk about apples. You know, if I talk about apples, you have an understanding of what an apple is. And if I put an apple between the two of us and I say, this is an apple, you're likely going to agree with me and you're going to say, yeah, that's an apple. We both know what the apple is. But if we get into certain nuances of how we experience this apple, we're going to have different things to say about this. If you give me an apple and you ask me to describe it, I can guarantee you right off the bat, I'm going to start talking about what it tastes like because I'm taste cognition. So human design is human design, and there is information that we can both recognize is human design. However, when I am talking about a lot of design stuff, so much of it is subjective. So much of it is based on my experience of the information. Now, we all have different mechanics that make us experience this incarnation, this reality, this experiment. We experience this in a variety of different ways. And so there are always going to be nuances to any piece of definition. You know, I can say, I'm a projector, but where's the nuance? You know, being a splenic projector is very different from an emotional projector. So I'm going to go into a little bit of detail about my own body graph so that you can tell how I'm filtering the information of human design and what perspectives or definition I'm using to talk about it. Right off the bat, most of y'all know I'm a projector. I definitely advertise that I'm a projector. My Instagram says professional projector. Now, you can get clues about what I am based on my content, and the thing that really directs that is my personal view. So as somebody with a sixth color view perspective, which is personal view, you always get exposed to things through my lens, through my experience, through my perspective. When I share, you're ideally meant to be getting, you know, through the eyes of my first person experience. If I transfer and I'm distracted and I'm not seeing correctly, I will look through a lens of distorted power. I won't be looking through my own lens. I'll be looking at all of the power imbalances I'm seeing. What's fair, and that's not how I meant to see things. Personal view is really the thing that kicks it off, because personal view means that you are always getting things from the lens that I have to experience them from. So not only do you see through my personal view is consistently looking at my life, my mechanics, my experiences. And so a lot of what you see for content that I put out is my definition. Content on being a third line, content on being innocence motivation, being a splenic authority, being a projector. These are all aspects of my definition. So you can definitely see parts of my mechanics in all of my content, because I tend to speak from what I am much easier, much faster, much more comfortably than speaking about what I'm not. What you're really meeting in first hit, you're gonna get my projector aura. I'm pokey, I'm penetrative, right? So I'm gonna wait for consent before I try and guide you, because otherwise it's gonna be an uncomfortable experience. First thing that you meet in me is my aura. And then, you know, honestly, somebody else should tell me what they feel when they meet me. I can't automatically say, like, this is how you feel me, but I just know mechanically the first thing anybody feels is the aura. But then after that, I think now I don't have a projection field, but there is a bit of an assumption on how I'm dressed. It's an interesting thing because when I say dressed, I don't mean what I'm wearing here. I mean my profile costume. When you meet me, you're gonna go, oh, projector. But then right away, you should kind of be getting this heavy third line energy. There should be this trial and error. You know, my line quality that gives me my conscious personality profile, third line. It comes across like, I'm curious to learn and I'm not too upset if I mess it up. And my full profile is a 3/6, but my conscious personality side is a third line. Now, before I found human design, I didn't have the awareness that I'm a third line profile. I didn't have the awareness that I was meant to learn the hard way, that I was meant to find out what didn't work, that I was meant to break the bond, that I was meant, honestly, to screw up a lot, but find a lot of value in it. You know, if you're not told that, if you're not given that kind of grace from the beginning, what you end up growing up with is a lot of shame. You know, I grew up feeling like I had made quite a few mistakes and that I was wrong for making them. And if anything, that I should try and hide my mistakes. You know, that's what shame says. It says you should hide these things. But finding human design, learning I was a third line profile, and actually seeing the benefit in that, seeing the value in that, completely changed my relationship to my own history. I stopped being so judgmental towards myself. I stopped being so critical towards myself. I started being a lot nicer. Now right away I get hit with a kicker in my design because while I am a conscious third line personality, the color underneath that is a 6. Now, if you know about transference, distortion, distraction, you know that a difference of 3 is what your transference will be. And so for me to be a third line personality, then I have a 6th color motivation, difference of 3, and then, oh no, my tone is a third tone. So I go 3, 6, 3. Oh God. And that doesn't say anything about the fact that I'm actually a 3/6 profile. So the amount of back and forth I have to do between the 3 and the 6, it's not very easy to stay on top of my own awareness. It is consistently trying to do this. And it's met with another layer of fuckery within my design. I am a single channel projector. I have one channel in my whole body graph. The channel of surrender, because it goes from my ego to my spleen. That means I'm a splenic authority. I don't have a solar plexus defined and I don't have a sacral defined, but I do have my spleen defined, which automatically makes my spleen my authority. Another important thing I just said there is I am non-sacral, non-energy type, and I am non-emotional. I have a natural fear of truth and confrontation. So getting to know me at first glance, what is this thing that you're meeting? You're meeting a splenic projector who has an ego, but because I'm only one channel, I have 7 undefined centers. None of them are fully open. I don't think I'm a very old soul. I don't think I'm very wise. In fact, I think I have a lot of growing up to do in this incarnation. I have a lot of going to school, in particular in my root center. My root center has more activations than any other center. I have nine activations in my root, just waiting to send me over the edge with adrenaline. I'm starting to bring it all together here in a more complete picture. When you meet my personality, hey Sam, hey projector. Now I didn't tell you what my sun gate was. Sun gate is gate 5. In fact, my whole incarnation cross is in collective circuitry. I'm a cross of consciousness. If you think about gate 5, we're in collective circuitry, but I want you to think about some key words here. I want you to think about waiting. I want you to think about patience. I want you to think about patterns, patterns that start life. I want you to think about ritual, routine. These are all aspects of gate 5. Now, again, I get met with so many layers of fuckery within my design. The irony that gate 5 is so much about setting a pattern, setting a routine, setting a ritual, the thing that, there's a predictability here. But then you attach this third line to it. And I know that when I'm a 5.3, that one of my greatest problems that I'm gonna have to go through in my life, or one of the greatest hurdles I have to get over, is the fact that I keep sabotaging my own routine. Now, if you told me I was someone who needed a routine, I would have given you a lot of resistance before human design. Now, the interesting thing is that my life recently has become incredibly routined, wildly ritualistic. I know what I'm up to all the time. And it is so much easier on me. It is so much more comfortable for my body. It is so much easier to work. It is so much easier to find my own pattern. But I wouldn't have known that if somebody said, go do this. You know, if somebody told me to do that, I wouldn't have figured that out. You know, the phrase, do without doing and the doing gets done. It's such a significant, supportive phrase for human design, because when you are correct, the correct things happen, and you don't have to think about mentally initiating them. You just have to be correct, and the pathway builds itself in front of you. I did not think about how to do this. I wasn't told how to do this. It's that moment by moment of correctly living my design, a routine was created for me. I fell in, you could literally say I bumped into it. That's a fuck. 5.3. The third line is here to bump into what is correct for them. I have tripped and stumbled into my right life, but I'm meant to trip and stumble into it correctly. I really had no idea how important my routine was until I fully grasped what it was to be quad left. You know, quad left is my variable configuration. My dependent design variable points, oh, these are always mirrored, points to the left, whichever way that left is. You know, my dependent personality variable, left facing. Independent design variable, left facing. Independent personality variable, left facing. Left, active, strategic, engaged, focused, meant to be watched. Now, the way that I present as a quad left is a way that was diagnosed as high functioning ADHD. I'm not here to say whether I actually am or am not, or anybody is or is not, but the way that my quad left presents to the world, active, strategic, focused, busy, engaged, stimulated into activity, the speed with which I need help, and the help that I need, what is recommended for someone with high functioning ADHD, is help that I find to be very helpful. The more that I understood the mechanics of being an active brain, of being a strategic mind, of being observed in my environment, of being focused, those were the things that I needed to know about myself in order to support my body and support my mental health so that I can function in this world very comfortably and preferably without a lot of medication. When it's time for projectors to learn who they are, the way that we do it is very, very unique to the projector type. You know, the way that a generator learns who they are is we ask them questions and they have a response that reveals their answer. Projectors are not able to do that, and we're really not able to see ourselves. Now, I have personal view. As a projector with personal view, you would almost think it implies I would want to learn about myself. And yet there is a distortion there. I cannot see myself accurately. So with personal view, one of the ways that I've worked this to my advantage is I study what I'm not. You know, projectors are here to study the other. We're here to know the other. And it is through knowing the other that I come to so much natural awareness about myself. There's so many ways that I can talk about what I am. I am a splenic projector. I am a 3/6 profile. I am someone with taste cognition. I am someone with consecutive determination. I am also someone who is not an energy type. I'm also someone who is not a manifester. I don't initiate. I don't have impact. I don't have a response. I don't have desire. I don't have power. Okay, there are words that should follow up on those. I'm like, desire, motivation. I don't have power, view, you know? I'm not Valley's environment. I don't like being in Valley's environment. I'm a markets environment person. I like being in markets, you know? I bond like a third line. Sorry, I don't bond like a second line, you know? Like, it's so much of learning about what I am was facilitated by learning what I'm not. This video is important to me because if you're gonna learn anything about human design from my content, it's really important to me that you recognize the layers through which you're learning, or the filters through which you're learning, because I am a filter through which you're learning the system of human design. I didn't have the experience of the transmission. I have only taken in source material from Ra. And as I exampled earlier, an apple is an apple is an apple, you know? You and I can both get the same source material lecture from Ra Uru Hu. We can both read it, but how we perceive it, how we integrate it, how we play with it, how we feel it, how we experience it, these are incredibly personal, differentiated, and subjective things. I didn't make this video because I care that people see me for what I am. I don't have to say anything to convince people to see me one way or the other. You either see me or you don't. And also, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not here to control how anybody sees me. I am here to be me. When I make content, the only reason I do it is because I like it, because I want to, because I'm interested in it. The only things you're ever gonna hear me talk about are things I'm learning, things I care about, things I find to be fascinating. I expose myself to things, and then I also share a lot of those things back with my audience. When I think about like why I do what I do, why I'm in human design, why I have a human design business, why I'm a content creator, why I make YouTube videos, it's because right now, sitting in my studio, recording after having spent a morning like enjoying myself, playing with my favorite things, getting ready, having my coffee. Oh God, I love coffee. I love a good latte. Like there are the simple pleasures of my day. There are things that make this mundane incarnation a little less boring. You know, God, I hate being bored. If I think, what do I want to do? You know, what do I want to do? It's really about what do I want to be? You know, what do I want to do today? For me is the question of what do I want to be today? And it's not like who do I want to be? You know, I'm not faking it. I'm not dressing up. It's more like who am I becoming today? What change am I going through? What experience am I having? So much of me lives in the experiential way and is going to be defined by the experiential way by transits for a very long time. I have a hanging 35 and I have a hanging 30. And right now I'm stuck in gate 36. And very soon I'm going to be stuck in gate 41 for a long time. I'm here for a why am I getting emotional? I'm here for a really personal experience. And honestly, sometimes I'm really impressed and proud of myself that I'm willing to share it. It's not easy. It didn't used to be easy. It's getting a lot easier. It's getting a lot more enjoyable. I spend my days doing what feels good. My goal every day is to feel good. And my mind is kind of consistently blown that I can do that and make more money than I ever have in my whole life. Good enough.